Project update, 7 p.m., 13 West Sutton Road, Heather Sims. Welcome, Heather. What do you have to update us with?
Not much. I didn't know I needed a permit because I had asked a couple of people if they got one when they replaced a dock, and they said no. So sorry about that. I can fill out whatever forms you need me to do. As far as, I've got pictures of what I've set up, and Brandon came and looked at it. I set up the dock in the same exact position that the former chair of this committee had approved and advertised. So I've got all the pictures from Mark's real estate listing of where the old dock was, and the new dock's in the same spot. So what do I need to do?
For DA.
Yeah. Just the regular.
Request for determination of applicability.
Do we have any of those here with us tonight?
Wanda was gonna maybe leave one, and I don't.
Well,
Here, 13 IDA for.
Look at that.
Can I look at the pictures, please?
This was the cover photo that Mark picked for his real estate listings. And I can show you on the phone on Zillow and a bunch of other sites. I was replacing an unsafe dock. This is a photo of my 84-year-old friend's foot going through the rotted wood, so I had to replace that. That was like an accident waiting to happen. The wood was so completely rotted on the old dock.
I think there's a question about the end of the dock.
Yeah, so that's what these photos show, is that Mark's dock extended slightly over the property line. And then I can show you, mine is pretty much in the same, or almost exactly the same position. Let me get the photo of that.
The regulations want it centered.
Yeah, I don't have 50 feet of waterfront, I've got that.
So, yeah, it would be in the middle.
Okay, so I put it in the exact same spot that that Mark had it set up. So I thought, well, if the former chair of the committee approved that spot, that's where it should go.
well, I don't remember there being ever any approval for that dock. It's just always been there.
Yeah,
Those
so-
are the old-
And this dock is
A new
different
one.
materials, it's a different size, it's a different configuration, so I would consider new construction. And it would need to meet the dock policy. There's already a boat there. My suggestion is just to move the dock from one side of the boat to the other side of the boat, which would be on the inside and the middle. And if you do that,
Here's
file
a
the
mark
RDA.
laid out, same position.
It's an easy approval.
There's the old dock with the rotted wood.
The T portion, you mean just flip the T, or the L portion? Is that what
Right,
you're saying?
so you pretty much transpose it, a mirror image, so it's going up like that. You switch it to the other side and have it go up and like that.
Can I just go straight up?
You
30
can't
feet?
go more than 30 feet.
Yeah, it wouldn't be more than 30 feet.
Yeah, I don't think so
It's
either.
2 10-foot stretches.
How long was the old one out before the new one went back in?
We took the old one out at the end of the season.
And this one
And
went
this one
in
went
at the
in
start of
now.
the season?
Yeah.
So it really doesn't make a difference because it's new materials,
Yeah.
new
It's
configuration.
under 30 feet?
It is under 30 feet, yes. It's 2 10-foot lengths with a little short ramp.
So I think just fill out the RDA form, put it on the next meeting, and
Although it may not be able to be on the next meeting because they have to advertise it, so would she have to have that by Monday?
You probably would, you could have it 2
Yeah.
weeks ahead of time, so that would be a pretty quick turnaround.
Here's where I put the new
And all you have to do is a
Notify.
little hand-drawn sketch.
yeah, you pass it down.
So you fill out that form, and then on another sheet, you do a little hand-drawn sketch.
Okay.
But she understands what you just said.
No, I'm sorry, I was having a separate conversation.
Good catch.
so.
Do you understand what I said about moving the location of the dock?
Yeah,
Any problems with that?
well, I can't do it myself, so I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
find some help.
It doesn't have to happen immediately either.
Okay.
This isn't the end of the world.
It's just to follow the same that everyone else has to go through.
Yeah,
So-
so like how much time do I have to move it? Because I have a real hard time getting contractors to call me back. And I'm recently widowed, so I don't have anyone to help me.
Well, I would guess maybe when you file the RDA, we'll discuss that
Yeah.
Okay.
when you come back.
Usually
Which
most
would-
get moved when the water drops, right? I mean,
You're gonna take it out in the fall?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And I could put it in
I'd
totally
suggest
different
probably
next year.
put it in someplace else next year and we'd be good.
I would agree.
So you can file the RDA and then you'll probably be on the first meeting in July, right?
Yeah,
More likely than not.
unfortunately, we can't get you because it's the time cutoff, but you'll be fine.
So,
Not gonna move it this
Fill
year
this out.
You're not
anyway, so-
moving it this way anyway, so just fill it out, which if you have any questions, we'll walk you through it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You want just a sketch on the last page or just an
Yeah,
attached
some
sketch?
kind of hand-drawn sketch.
Basically what you're doing in
So
the center
essentially
land.
how it is now or what I'm gonna do next year when I. put
How-
it
What are
in?
you gonna do next year?
Okay,
And the secretary is sick this week, and she's gonna be out all week, so she should be back on Monday.
okay, so if I fill it out, come back on Monday and drop it off.
Perfect. We'll get you back in and out.
Cool, great.
Because I
Sorry
think the
about
dock itself, the sizes meets all the,
Size
Yep.
is fine.
Size is
Even
fine.
if
Got the
she went
reflectors,
straight
Yeah,
out,
all
I
of this.
doubt it'll be more than 30 feet. It just needs to be more towards the inside as opposed to the outside.
just more of a piece of paper you gotta fill out.
I can do that.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Have a good night. 7:05, 171 Worcester Providence Turnpike. Matt Doherty.
Thank you, Patrick Doherty from Midpoint Engineering here on behalf of the developer. It's Galaxy Sutton LLC. At the last meeting, I had indicated that we had scheduled the maintenance for the pond, and we also had catch basin cleaning done. And that was all actually done today to finish the pond and cleaned out all 32 catch basins in the site. So I do have a photo of the pond once it was done. Right now, I think I mentioned they had to plug the pipe that connects the large pond and the small pond. There's about 26 inches of water in the large pond, so it's still plugged. We opened up the bypass valve just to drain it down a little bit, because if we just remove the plug, we'd have a 24-inch pipe flowing full, and we'd probably wipe out everything we just did. So I expect that probably end of the day tomorrow or possibly Friday morning, we'd remove the plug and then it would be all back to normal.
Okay.
So here's the.
I went by after the last meeting shortly afterwards, and I saw a plug in the pipe, and then I went by Monday, and I saw the levels were down, and quite dramatically from what they were.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the bound is, you can see
Sorry.
the bound in there
Wasn't
as
there.
well.
I measured, I was down there, I measured 15 inches from the top of the stone to the pea stone you had down at the bottom.
So Pat, what did you do?
We scraped out all the organics and probably the top inch of the fine sand that was in the basin. Removed that's actually on site, and we brought in pea stone and put about 3 inches of pea stone over the bottom. We fixed the outlet of the pipe that wasn't designed with riprap and it's a scour hole forming. So we placed riprap at the outlet, and then we installed the bound.
The gauge thing,
The
yeah.
gauge, yeah, the bound in the correct
That will
outlet.
make somebody happy.
Yes.
That's the inlet you mean? It's the inlet that you put the riprap in,
Yeah, the riprap there, yes.
yeah.
Anyone in the audience have any questions on this one? Brandon, do you have any updates?
I had pictures to show, but it looks like you got them there anyway. Oh, you need to switch to Control F8.
Pat, the only thing I'm concerned about is you're gonna lose the vegetation out there on the pond
I know.
unless we do
And it
something
would be the
as
same
far as nutrient, or putting some nutrient out there, some
Yeah.
fertilizer or something, because we both know the material out there is not
It'll be good.
the best organics to support,
Right.
and even the weeds are having
Sorry.
trouble growing out there.
Mhm.
So, and we have to maintain some vegetation on the inside of those slopes in particular. So I think we should look at some fertilization or something in there in the near future.
Yeah, the biggest problem we're having is there's no irrigation out there. Our irrigation is only at the the supermarket area now. Unless we provide irrigation, nothing's gonna grow. Some of the weeds are the native materials, and you can see that even where the home improvement pad is, it's getting thicker. So, some of the native vegetation is coming in. The one photo we have, there is a brown patch here. That actually, when they put the plug in originally, they put it in this side, and there's a joint just below there, and the water was pushing out. So
That's where
So
I
they
saw the
re-
plug, yeah.
yeah, so they regraded this area and then put the plug in on the upstream side. But you can see that the native grasses are kind of taking hold. I know it's a couple of years, but we can certainly try and, you know, reseed it and put some fertilizer in, but I don't think without irrigation, it's gonna take hold.
I think some nutrients would help.
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of nutrients? You don't want phosphates?
No,
Yeah, we can just phosphorus free.
Yeah.
Okay.
because it is getting awfully sparse, and as I say, the weeds aren't even growing well out there. So, and I agree with your irrigation, but you're not about to irrigate. We're not gonna tell you to
Right,
irrigate.
yeah.
But the next best thing is to try
It's
to
gonna
put something
fall.
out there.
And I'll
that-
run it by our landscapers too, see if they got a recommendation on a different seed, more drought tolerant or something too.
I know what John Angle would say. Say, put in little blue stem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is anything else that,
And then, now, as far as the cat nine tails on the other side, are we concerned about that? Is the integrity of the liner in jeopardy
I-
because of
I
them?
asked that question the last time Pat was here, is, you know, was that, I think that was originally designed to be an open, like, pond, infiltration pond.
No,
No, that, yeah, go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, it's lined and it's got 8 inches of topsoil on it.
Right.
We had, when it wasn't draining correctly because of the filter fabric, there was always ponding in there, and the cattails took hold. It takes a long, long time to drain all that water out of the soil,
Mhm.
so it's gonna be a, you know, a wetland, you know, it's gonna create a natural wetland. What we are gonna do, and what we, you know, we started last year is cutting down the side slopes in the bottom. Last year, when we cut the bottom, there was still a lot of water in that first pond. So, you know, what we're planning to do is summertime, you know, hopefully we got a couple of weeks of dry weather and that pond gets as dry as it can, and we'll, you know, cut down that area, either, you know, by hand or with a
On the
mower.
side slopes?
We did the side slopes and we did the bottom.
Oh, mowing it down.
Yeah, mowing it down.
Okay.
You
Just
know,
do me a favor and don't let Phragmites get in there.
right, yeah.
Yeah, because it's all cattail right now, which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If, I mean, not that you have any obligation, because it is a detention pond,
right.
but I think it's better to have it as cattails than Phragmites.
Yeah. And we did plant, I think, the cattails down in the wetland that we created. Those are doing well down there too.
Oh, not to cut you off while I get on my mind. I don't have any reports from Ecotech on, you know, the year-end progress reports for that thing. I don't remember getting them from last year.
Okay, I'll talk to Eric.
Let them know.
He's on board.
'Cause, you know, you gotta do it 1 year after the other, so if you got one in now and then got one in, say, October, November, that'd be fine, but if you wait until, you know, August,
we gotta
September,
go
then you're
back.
gonna have to go to rate
Right.
2018 instead of this year.
Personally, I mean, I like the cattails down there,
Mhm.
because they do filter the water and keep the water clean. I just don't know whether or not, with the cattails in there, whether or not it changes the whole balance of the detention and retention and that whole system down there,
How
which is
much-
a bigger question.
How much volume are they taking up, and is that gonna affect your
No, it'd be minimal. You know, it's
But I mean,
you know, the problem we've been having is the infiltration rate.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully that's cured now.
If
The storage volume is not a problem there
if
at
you
all.
could get an opinion, a
Mhm.
professional opinion, that the cat nine tails do not adversely affect the design of the pond,
Mhm.
or, you know, I don't
The
know.
reason that is
Right.
because wetland basins are great for water quality.
Sure. Okay.
But as I say, if you can get a written opinion on that,
I'll ask Art about that as well, you know, while he's looking at that.
that might solve all our problems, and we'd have something in the file for the variation, because it's not as designed, it wasn't designed to have cat nine tails.
I found this on the web for solve all problems.
The other question that Brandon had asked me last meeting is where the permit stands as far as expiration. I looked that up, and August of 2015, we extended it for 3 years, so it's good
August.
until August of 18,
Yeah.
which kind of, at some point, you know, I don't know what the process is if we would, you know, I don't know what else remains other than the rose bushes. You know, the Lowe's pad isn't developed, but I think that's, you know, out of the buffer zone. So, you know, I don't know what the process, you know, would be. You know, when we had asked for the partial certificate, building B wasn't constructed, and that's done now.
So long as the site is stable and you're working, you know, you got Ecotech working on the reports for the replication area, the detention basins are working correctly, and that you keep on doing your invasive species removal, you know, and you get those roses in, yeah, you're doing pretty good.
But you've got a phase 3, that this order of conditions encompasses phase 3 as well at this point.
Yes.
So if you don't extend it,
I don't
all right,
think
you'll
that-
have to
yeah.
reapply for phase 3.
Yeah, I don't know that we are allowed to extend it any further. I think that was the last extension. Is there anything that prevents us from continuing? Okay.
Well, only us not being cooperative.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I mean, am I not correct? There was a phase 3, which is
This
the
is
condo or
phase-
apartments up on the hill, which,
That was never approved. That was always conceptual. There's no
No improvements, right?
construction allowed up there.
okay.
The roadway, you know, is pretty much complete.
The home improvement
The home improvement
is part of,
is part of it.
Yeah.
You know, that would likely change anyways. And then, you know, I can go over it with Brandon. We're working on the soccer field now. And as part of that project, we're going to fix the road. There's a sharp angle because of the lack of that property. That's probably in the buffer zone and on the.
sharp
Yeah.
angle
You come in from Boston Road,
Entrance road
you
coming
have
in.
to
that-
turn
that
left
sharp
and then
angle.
right.
Yeah.
And then the fence is there and you can't really see. So, you know, we're hoping to fix that, you know, realign the road a little bit, which would extend onto the property that already has the permit, so I don't know if we need to close one out to start fresh or, you know, whatever makes the most sense.
Well, the soccer property is a different piece of property, isn't it?
Right, but the road that we'd be changing is not, that's part of the,
Pleasant Valley?
Yeah, the entrance road coming in is part of Pleasant Valley Crossing, correct?
Entrance road coming in from Boston Road?
Yeah, you know where
Come
they put
in-
the culvert in and the
That's
walls?
not- That's something, that's down the street from Pleasant Valley.
No. The project road, Boston Road where the signal is.
Yeah.
You come over the brook, and you have to turn left and then right. And the reason that alignment was done is because the soccer field was owned by a different party. We're working on design plans now that we'll be submitting this summer that will, you know, develop the soccer field property, but at that same time, we would fix the alignment of the entrance road coming in from Boston Road, which
On the
is
current property.
on the
Yeah.
current property.
As it
Then
should.
that would be,
Field
that would
change.
be an amendment if
Yeah.
you're,
So in that case, you want to keep it up? Keep
Yeah,
it
so we
up.
would just keep it open as best
It's a lot
as
easier.
Okay.
I have a question. You know how we did the temperatures for Cold Spring Brook and monitored those?
yes,
And when do we do them again?
at the end of the project when they're ready for certificate of compliance, if I remember right.
Yes.
They were, Pat asked really nice if he could suspend it because it was a big pain in the butt and a big expense.
Yes.
The commission said, sure, just come in at the very end when you get come in for the certificate of compliance with another suite of tests and results. That's how I remember it.
Okay. So you're probably gonna extend it in August then?
Of the 18.
Next
For another year.
Oh, until next year, okay.
Unless for some reason a home improvement store comes and wants to build it exactly according to plan.
Yep. Good luck.
Okay. That's all I have.
Everybody good?
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
Thanks for getting that done.
You're welcome. You know, it took longer than expected, but you know, part of it was the weather. And we apologize for that.
You will get back to us on that letter, though,
Yeah.
and think about the fertilizing the slopes, or seeding, or doing something to keep them stable.
Now, the enforcement order, is that need to vote or is it continue on, or?
Good question.
I vote to rescind it, right? We have to vote to rescind it,
Yeah, because that was just for the grant bound.
yeah. Make a motion to rescind the enforcement order.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for reminding us.
Are you taking the notes and minutes? Okay.
Well,
Have a,
All right.
have a good night, Pat.
You too.
7:20, 227 Putnam Hill Road, Blackstone National Golf Course, Michael Gordon. And, continuing.
I was wondering why I hadn't heard from them. I haven't seen any revised plans. I haven't heard from them. So I guess nobody's coming in. Why don't you table it to the end, just in case they do happen to stumble in?
okay, make a motion to table it till the end.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And now we got 15 minutes to kill. Wanda made a note here. She sent letters to 192 Manchester Road for Stephen Porter and 198 Manchester Road for Kevin Stale. They both came back because they went to their, looks like their old Whitensville addresses. So,
She said she had looked in the assessor's office and there was no occupancy permit, so she didn't think they were living in the house, but I think they both
looks like
are.
they both have forwarding. So she's gonna mail those out, and then it looks like she also sent a letter to 60 Lackey Road.
Yeah.
Joyce did the minutes. Everyone review those for May 3rd and May 17th.
I didn't.
Bob was supposed to send them to you.
Well, what? I was supposed to send
Yes,
them?
I sent them to you. You were supposed to forward them to him because I didn't have it in my computer.
He's not very good at clerical.
Oh.
No, I didn't for them.
There goes the raise. You got
Hmm.
them from me, right? You wanna?
But you only need 3.
All right, anybody want to make a motion?
I can't make a motion, you know?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 3rd and May 17th.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I did not read forward them. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
17. What do we got here? 17 Southwick Road. Is that the tree? The emergency certificate?
Southwick?
Probably.
Yeah.
That one's done.
Did we
Yes.
sign that?
What are you talking about?
Sign emergency certificate on the board business.
Oh,
Has it not been done?
yes, we did,
I
last
thought we
meeting.
did it.
I thought you did too, like right away.
Yeah.
The guy was really.
Well, he went out and did the work, but we never had the certificate to sign. She couldn't find it, so that's what. made the-
Okay, that's why we gotta sign it.
Okay.
I'll see if
And
she,
you don't see it here. 37 West Sutton, 1 Maple.
here's plans to sign permits already issued last meeting. Maybe that's in here. No, this is Ramshorn Road.
There's also another one for
Putnam Hill.
360 Rear Boston Road.
Maple Wilderness.
No. I don't think they're in here.
Let's see.
What's this one, Joyce? Oh, it's just minutes?
That's, minutes. This is only Morton's.
Moving along.
What's in the folder down there? Anything?
This one? Nothing in here. What are you looking for?
Emergency certificate.
17 Southwick
I-
Road.
I thought we signed at the last meeting, but anyway.
It's on the agenda last meeting.
Yeah, we signed at the last
And
meeting.
the meeting before was the one that he
But
came in.
like Bob was saying, maybe that was the one she couldn't find to,
I thought
I
that
don't
was the
remember.
case.
yeah.
Yeah,
No.
we're missing 360R Boston Road. To sign.
We'll get to that next meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's gonna affect anybody's life.
Site visit.
Signed 360R Boston.
It was permitted on April 26th. It says it was misplaced.
Okay.
Site visit, 11 Horse Pasture Lane.
Looks great.
All good?
All good.
They moved the trash.
Good. Extended order for 62 Lackey Road.
do that until they,
Refresh the erosion
refresh the
control.
erosion controls, and I haven't heard, nobody's heard back from them. That letter should have been sent out.
And I recommend that when we extend an order,
Oh,
that
yeah.
we put a caveat on there that it would be subject to the present bylaws.
It didn't,
I don't
someone,
think
I don't think you
can't
can
do
do
that.
that.
Can't do that?
You can't change it.
What you can do, if you want it to be subject to the new bylaw, just don't extend it and make them refile. That's if you really wanna do it.
well, anything that could be a big enough ongoing thing might make sense.
Mm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 62 Lackey Road is one she sent the letter. Track sheet review, subcommittee, anything, got anything?
Been very quiet the last 3 weeks. Very quiet.
Ellis
I'll
box.
give you an update on 289 Putnam Hill Road, which is Mr. Romeo. The question of whether or not, why isn't he moving forward on the wetland replication? And so I called him up, and he actually had a decent excuse that he couldn't even get a machine down there because it would have got stuck in the field. It's so muddy. And I believe it because I was out there. The wetland replication, the hole that he dug out is half full of water as it is. And
It should be a good replication area.
it should, so he could plan it, at some point this month and still have it work out all right. This time last year,
No.
it wouldn't have worked, but this year is doing just fine. So I gave him a pass, but reminded him of his obligation.
Okay.
I also went across the street to 290. You remember, one of the conditions was, there's a little potential vernal pool out back. So I went and I checked it out, and I found 3 salamander egg masses. Unfortunately, you need to have 5 to qualify for certification. However, here's the weird part of the procedure, is that if one of those eggs hatches and I see 1 tadpole swimming around, that's all you need. So I haven't been back. It's been 3 weeks now. So they're probably swimming around. I'll make my way over there eventually and see if there's any tadpoles. You saying, Bob?
Ellis box. AGS.
Didn't get on that one. Making a note.
How did you like 7 Overlook, Overland, whatever it was?
There isn't even a wetland there.
I was right.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, Dave.
There you go.
There was an application for the subdivision, for the road and the lot layout. And the original order of conditions from back in the 1980s said that certain lots would have to file notices of intent for the house construction. I saw nothing regarding that particular lot, but I guess the lawyer who's helping to sell the house had the question. So the question is how to handle this, because he needs some kind of document that he can give back to his lawyer to help get him out of his legal wrangling with his potential certificate of compliance that he needs.
Do a partial for that lot.
Where,
Well,
what lot is this?
we don't even know if there was a notice of intent filed for that.
I don't know what street it is.
The notice of intent was just for the road and the drainage infrastructure, not for the individual lots.
Where is this?
This is Overlook Drive, which is on Boston Road.
Yep.
I don't think there's not even an application really to file a certificate of compliance with, unless you want to attach it to that original order, which is like 303-79
That's gotta be what
or
the,
17 or something like that.
Okay, I remember something about that because I went to some hearings on that. It was sold by the Sherman Estate, and then they put Overlook Drive in, and they made them put a detention pond at the end. So there is a detention pond at the end of that road, to keep the water, because the water actually goes in 3 directions there. Some of it goes toward Manchog, some of it goes toward Singletary. And then I think it was the detention pond was over toward Marty's. And
I
they
didn't
made
see
them,
any detention pond
they made them
anyway.
put a detention pond in there, I remember.
This is the plan that was approved, okay? And this is the lot we're talking about.
Yeah, the detention pond should have been down to the right there.
It's not even shown.
Maybe we turn off the 8 lots.
Okay, that's what I
Go,
thought.
keep going,
I don't
and
think
it's on
there's
the
a
other side
detention
of the road.
pond.
Across from the Lunds,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was way down in the end, there was a detention pond.
So here's the special conditions on the original. Road and drainage construction shall not begin until the Board of Health has approved, his approval has been granted for the installation of subsurface sewage disposal systems on lots 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 or 9. But that's just for septic systems. It also says that, where is it? There's really nothing here about having to file for individual house lots. I suppose you could try and attach a partial certificate of compliance for this lot to this order, which is 30317.
Which has probably never been closed out as a subdivision.
I doubt it.
Well, the lien's still against recorded, or whatever it is.
I suppose you could try doing that. I don't think anybody would complain.
They've got a file for it, but
Yeah. So you could do a partial certificate for this
Lot.
particular lot for file 303-17. Even though there's no wetlands on the property and really there's no record of a notice of intent ever, but it would probably satisfy the legal mechanism that's required. I don't see any harm in that. So I imagine at the next meeting, Wanda will have written up a partial certificate for this.
But they have to ask for it?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Wait a minute. Okay, so Wanda here, this is the email chain. Wanda on May 22nd emailed Attorney LeBlanc the certificate of compliance form. All right. Whether or not it's been received, we don't know because Wanda's been on vacation and now she's sick. So that's where we are.
and it's 7:35.
7:35. 37 West Sutton Road. Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 7, 2017 at 7:35 p.m. at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Oxford Road, Sutton. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by Karen Norland, Massachusetts. The project consists of removing and replanting 2 decayed and dead trees on map 8, parcel 25 on 37 West Sutton Road in Sutton.
It wasn't a notice of intent, it was an
IDA.
Yeah. I noticed that too.
Notice was given.
Sorry.
Well, I just want to make sure
Yep.
I'm okay. Yes, I have 2 trees on my property
says on here.
that have been
Yeah, that's his notice.
gradually dying over the last several years, and it's kind of gotten to the point now where I have to do something. This spring, a limb from the ash tree, which is the one that's closer to the road, came down and went through my deck. So I decided that, and it's a huge tree, it's very, very large. And if that one comes down, it's gonna take out my house and my neighbor's house. The other tree is a maple, and that's very close to the shore. It's basically right on the shoreline.
And that's been decaying for several years. It's got insect infestation, and the arborist that I had look at it actually took some photos from my neighbor's yard, and I haven't seen that view of it. There's actually a hole right through it. So his opinion is that both of the trees are dangerous and need to come down.
Did you get a letter from him?
I'm
Yes, you
sorry.
did.
Did you get a letter
Oh,
from him?
yes, I did. Yeah,
You're
I've
the
got
best.
photos and drawings.
You're the best.
It's right there,
Look at that.
right up on.
And
the
it's
front.
signed, and it's
Yeah.
letterhead.
And in my opinion, it's legit. The question is, I think the only question really is the policy of replacing tree per tree.
Absolutely.
So could you tell us what plans you have for
I've
that?
talked to Imagine Landscape. Tim LaBelle does my plowing in the winter, and I told him that I needed to replace the trees. Wanda told me that I had to replant a minimum of 2.5-inch diameter trees of a similar species, so I was thinking about maple trees. And she said they also have to be
Native.
Native.
native, yeah,
Right,
and
so no
about
Nor-
as close,
No Norway maple.
no Norway maple, but as close to the original locations as possible.
Yep.
My property is down from the street, so you can't get equipment down there, so the trees are gonna have to be planted by hand. And I'm gonna use Skyhook to take the trees out because you can use a crane. So, kills me to lose the shade, but, it's at the
You don't
point
wanna lose
now,
the house.
Yeah. My late husband and I planted 5 trees 15 years ago, and the trees are very large now. It's really nice, so I'm hoping I'm still around in 15 years to see the new trees, but that's what my plan is.
Okay, said it was Imagine Landscape?
Yep.
They're the
Tim
ones
LaBelle.
that'll provide and plant the trees?
Yep.
And you're gonna plant them either nearby the existing trees or closer to the water?
Okay.
That's the plan.
Okay.
So, what was the name of the person at Imagine?
Tim LaBelle.
Okay, so I think that's the contingency on the negative determination. Plant 2 trees in the same location or closer to the water, as usual.
Anyone in the audience have any questions? Didn't think so.
Now,
Good job,
Skyhook
Bill.
said that
Last meeting?
they could take the trees down probably about 2 weeks after I get the okay to do it. And I asked Tim about replanting, the season, and he said you could actually replant any time, but I might have to have him provide irrigation if it goes too far into the summer. So I'm looking at trying to get it done by the end of June. Is there an issue with the
Shouldn't be.
Any type of irrigation?
Wanda's been out sick. I imagine she'll be back next week. She's probably gonna have a bunch of catching up to do, because she'll have been out for 2 weeks, but, and she's the one that drafts these, and then what she does is she runs them by me, and I make sure that everything's, that second set of eyes,
Yep.
and then we send it out.
She wouldn't have to wait if we approve it tonight, though, to take them down, would she?
Yes, you would have to wait until
The
the
appeal, I get that.
The even appeal?
paperwork is done, right?
Unless it was unless it was an emergency.
That's right, and I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
not
it's
really an emergency,
No.
but,
always good to hear it from the applicant.
yeah.
Make a motion to issue a negative determination. You're gonna replant 2 trees, approximate same location, native to the area.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
You got a star.
That was a good,
That was good.
that was a
Well
good
done.
application.
Well, I was on the Concom back in the 80s.
Oh.
so,
Oh, you were?
Yes.
You know how it's done.
So now we know the secret.
Thank you.
Have a good
There's a
night.
seat
Good night.
opening up if you.
Good try.
Got another 10 minutes to kill.
I went down to the industrial park. There was an addition on, what was the name of the company there, the trucking company, that is within our jurisdiction, and they never filed anything.
Oh, on Gilmore there? or whatever?
Yeah, on Gilmore Drive. So, they really should file an after the fact RDA to be legal.
Have Wanda send a,
Make a note, and I
Yeah.
want to send out a letter.
Yeah, 'cause they put it on the end toward the wetland, so they didn't come in.
alright,
The building inspector inspected it without
44
realizing.
44 Marble Road is in line for a certificate of compliance. The last thing they had to do was to get rid of the invasive species along the edge of the stream, which they've done, so all Wanda has to do is write up the paperwork and be voted on the next meeting.
okay,
And, let's see, you ready for the next one?
well, got
Need to
10
wait
minutes
till
to kill. So
7:15.
is everyone here either for 1 Maple Street or 62 Wilderness?
One Maple.
62 Wilderness.
Okay.
Mr. Krabowski, what are you doing here?
Well, just to keep the commission updated on Econolodge, if I had a moment, I just,
You got
You
9
got,
minutes.
yeah,
well, hopefully only 5 of yours. We're very close, as you know, we're not gonna do the actual work until the end of the summer when it's dry enough to lower the dam. The client is still working with me to get the dam 3 inches lower, to get the access up. We're still in discussions with Fish and Wildlife, and they're, of course, on board for this trout access. Well, the reason why I came in is in case there was any discussion. Originally, when we were here, there was leave the stumps in place. I was not aware, and the reason why I'm here, I did send you an aerial. We used a drone
It's
to
right
go.
there.
We used a drone to go over and shoot the area. There's the altered area was up in the back here, and then around that direction, there was 35 red oaks and mostly white pine in there, stumps, and the client was looking to remove one white pine next to a shed. It was,
Hold on, Glenn.
yes, sir.
So, on the right-hand side, that's all cleaned up now.
The issue is that the client, unbeknownst to me, had somebody come in, the contractor did not complete his obligation, the logger, Williams. The client wasn't aware that he couldn't, he might have been, he should have been aware that, and I know it was discussed, not to remove the stumps. But I went over there with the drone a couple of days ago, and the stumps were gone and the grass was starting to grow. It is stable. I think that was the overall, commission did want it stable. No movement, we had 2 inches of rain, I looked at it again today, nothing's moving over there, it's flat. There's no overland flow going to it, and that's why I'm here, because he did go in there and do what we were going to do under the notice of intent, along with removal of portion of the dam. But before anything came to your attention by way of other people, I wanted to make sure that you were aware, because I just became aware of it, that the stumps were pulled, and it was loomed, and it's green. And it was done approximately 2 weeks ago, so it's fast, good growing grass, but it's been wet. And that's why I came in. I asked Wanda, I didn't know she was gonna be, I sent an email on that, and I did send it over to Mr. Faniff over it also, so that you'd be aware of what was going on.
Glenn, is that just a distortion of the lens, or is Econolodge really that crooked?
No, it is that crooked on the set. We have a map of 1 inch was 50, 1 inch was 100, and it is that shape.
I gotta check that out.
Yep.
I gotta check that out.
Well, I got it right here on another, we've got your Oliver, if you choose to. As we're putting something together, that's the shape of the site, so.
Yes, I never noticed that before.
It does have kind of a curve to it. Mr. Mongola, for whatever reason, it was built that way, I'm not sure. Yep, you see it.
Yeah.
So we do have a surveyed plan by Little Prad Land Surveying, showing the dam, showing the outflow, showing the cut, showing the soil depths. The pond is generally 4 feet deep, he made, and is about 2 to 2.5 feet of mud in the bottom of the pond. So we went through it in the winter, broke through the ice, first refusal, and we're lowering it by that 1 foot 3 inches. So it'll still be pooling but vegetated. More, some areas won't become marsh, because it's a little bit deeper than marsh, but other areas will be a little expansion of the cattail marsh coming into it a little bit more because of the shallow nature.
Cattails are pond lilies.
Pond lilies are in there now. We're, but the narrower the channel is over time, as it's becoming filled in with organics since '62 or whenever it was, eventually there'll be stream channels coming in from the south and from the north. The north would be Cold Spring Brook, and the unnamed tributary comes in from the south. As it narrows up, the better it is for the trout fishery, because there's less area to be heated up by the sun, and you become just a narrow channel as historically it was. And so he's losing a little bit of his pond aesthetics, but it's improving the overall coolness of the stream as it becomes shallower, eventually fills in and becomes just a channel system, two channels coming together. Fish and Wildlife feels clearly, and I do too, that at 1 foot 3 inch jump with a nape, with a 4 foot gap, with the arc will be sufficient for access upstream, which there isn't now. They're gonna be electroshocking it later on in the summer, below this to prove to the commission and to himself that there is a trout fishery remaining from below the pond that's downgraded up to this dam. That's the update. I do anticipate having the NOI into Wanda within the next 2 weeks, so that we can eventually get on your agenda for an NOI public hearing. That was my update.
Thank you.
So that picture was taken with a drone, huh?
Yes.
It almost looks like a painting and not a photograph.
Well, we have other ones of the spillway and whatever, that we're using it more often. My son bought one, and now we're using it for more projects, to give it a little bit more perspective of what.
Interesting.
That's gonna be my next toy, work piece of equipment.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
really worth getting.
What
We're
kind
just
you-
starting to get into it.
You got 2 minutes, what kind did you get?
I'll send it over. I will send it over, and you'll all have it, okay? Thank you. for
Have a
your
good
time,
night.
For hearing me. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you for eating up 10 minutes here.
Always my pleasure. Good summer. Thank you.
Let's see,
The
so,
back building there, hotel too?
It's like apartments.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the ABC Landscaping.
The person who jump-started this whole thing
Yeah.
lives back in that
Yeah.
building.
Wow. Used to be able to go right down from the golf course there. I don't know if you
Yeah.
still can.
Well, back in the 60s, they had a place for the golf carts to go down and pick up the golfers
Yeah.
that stayed there. So the black-topped area is still there, but it's kind of
Beat
got
up.
stuff on top of it.
And now, of course, there's condos above it, or the villas
Yeah.
are getting built above it, right?
Yeah, well, you saw the pictures of the flood back 80 years ago that went through
Right.
there. Anyway,
1 minute.
And, I should make a public statement. Remember strategic environmental down on Putnam Hill Road? I'm gonna have to recuse myself from anything future regarding strategic, because I've entered into a contract as a subcontractor with them, doing a Mass DOT project in the town of Norwell, which is out by the South Coast Route 3. So I'm working with them on that project, and I've teamed up with them on a proposal for another one in Billerica. So I think it's only fair to make it public that I'm working with them as a subcontractor, and I should recuse myself in the future.
Perfect
you.
timing. 750, 1 Maple Street. Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 7th, 2017 at 7:50 PM at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Oxbridge Road in Sutton. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by John Paluca. I butcher everything. The project consists of a construction of a stone wall, stairs to the pond, new lawn area, swing, removal of invasive species, and tree pruning on map 49, Parcel 6 on 1 Maple Street, Sutton. Welcome.
Hi, folks, Lance Anderson, Heritage Design Group. Brian, do you want these?
Thank you.
We filed a notice of intent for 1 Maple Street. I wasn't at the last meeting. I think I was briefed on what happened. You've got the conservation plan in front of you. I know my engineer and Brandon have gone back and forth, and if you have any questions, I'll certainly answer them, or Mr. Palucci can answer them.
Do we have a plan? Or,
You probably do.
Sure. If not, you can borrow mine.
No. Oh wait, yes. Yeah, you want this one? Give that one back to Brandon.
now I have a question about the garage. That was not permitted, right? So shouldn't it be included in here so that,
I've got a,
Garage was there when I bought the house.
I know, but it wasn't permitted.
It was on Norm Gattery's order of conditions, from what I understand.
I've got a copy, Joyce, of the septic as-built that's showing the existing garage.
There was an existing garage, but then there was a new one built, so that,
In this, that is the existing garage, you know, that's there today.
The present garage?
Yeah, correct. And that, the date on this one is, this was done by others. This is for the septic as-built. I didn't notice
But-
the date on this. September 2016, September 8th. This is when Mr. Gattery owned it.
Right, and here's what we have. This is the 2015 plan, final revision date 5/19/15. This is the plan that was approved back then for the septic system, right here.
And now,
And there's no garage. So there was never a certificate, there was a certificate of compliance eventually.
for that,
Issue-
but there was no approval for any garage, right?
Right, so I suppose that if you would bundle the garage in with this one.
That's what I'm saying, so that it should probably be in with this one so that it is legally approved.
the existing garage is on our plans.
That's right.
But it's not on the conservation plan that was approved.
Right, but it's on the new plan.
It's on the
But it's
plan,
on the new
yeah,
plan.
yeah.
It's on the new plan.
So,
So-
Right, but I'm a little confused, Joyce. It's also on the septic as-built that was turned into conservation?
But it was turned in as
An
the
as-built.
as-built was, the septic design here included, they built the garage at the same time, which doesn't cover the conservation end of it. You follow me?
So that, the garage is on the current plan. So my suggestion is to bundle it in with the current application.
I would agree.
That's what I was suggesting.
I personally don't see any adverse impact
No.
here.
It was the existing driveway, right?
Right, so, just, this will be a way to incorporate it in a legal and proper manner.
And then you're covered too if you ever went to sell it or anything, it's on record.
How did Norm sell it to me? The garage was there.
There was a lawyer
Good
that
question.
wasn't
Doing their job.
doing their job, yeah. Wasn't looking close enough.
Yeah, because the garage was never approved. If the building department approved it, but it never came to conservation, which it should have, because the whole thing is within our jurisdiction. So to make it legal for you, include the garage on this application so that it is legally approved.
It doesn't cost you anything, it's just it's just wording on the
That's fine.
application. It's just
Yeah.
wording on the application that in addition to the stone wall and the swing set, is a garage being, or on the property at the same time. It should not be any additional cost to you, it's just the wording on the application should include the garage.
So should that be an amendment to add that?
No,
Hasn't been approved.
because
yet,
it's incorporated in the new notice of intent.
The garage is in the...
Right, it's in the current notice of
Okay.
intent, so that's
All right.
even more than amendment, it's
Yeah.
a brand-new application.
Okay.
The only thing that I noticed on the drawing, just, and I'm sure it's an oversight, you do identify a new disturbance, which was what prompted the whole problem that you had, was somebody saw where you, but there's no references to, specific reference to what you're doing to correct the new disturbance, or have done to correct the new disturbance.
The new disturbance has been corrected. A little bit of the A horizon of the soil did get moved, and it's been reseeded and strawed.
As I said, the note on the drawing, if you have an opportunity to put a note on the drawing.
At the time the as-built was done, it hadn't been done.
I thought that this was not as
That was the as-built.
Yeah, this is the new application.
When that data was collected, there was a disturbance here, it's been repaired.
I agree, and I'm
Okay.
just saying that, for clarity's sake, we don't note here in the drawing that it has been reseeded, planted, or anything else.
Okay.
I mean, you are talking, in the other parts of the area, you're talking about what you're doing, but that is just, it's still listed as a disturbed area.
Correct.
It has to be restored.
That
And it
was the
should-
part that was on the towns, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
and it should-
correct.
That should definitely be noted on the drawing as to what has been or will be done in that area. Outside of that,
Yep, it has been done.
Fold these
you
things.
agree, Brendan, or?
You really want it?
Well, I mean, that was the thing that initiated the whole problem to begin with, was that disturbance that is not being addressed in anything here that it was corrected. It's just a case of addressing it, saying that it was.
Japanese bamboo is growing nicely over there.
Huh. Oh, did you get that Forest magazine there? And there was an article in there, and it said that the wild cucumbers will kill the Japanese knotweed. So I want to go into business and raise,
Where do you get wild cucumbers?
they're a native thing. I think I'm going to go into business and raise the seeds so we can put them all around the Japanese knotweed.
I don't know if he needs to, the question is it worthy of a continuance?
Oh, no, I'm
No.
not saying.
All right,
Just-
so maybe a plan revision, closed with contingent on making a note on that.
Just make a note of the plan tonight, right?
Mhm.
No?
Well, you haven't issued the order of conditions yet, right?
No, we haven't.
Just
It
put it
would
on
be-
there.
It would be it would be a condition.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
and the
That'll deal
biggest
with it.
thing with this one is the Japanese knotweed eradication. We're not talking about like cut it down and then just let it go back up. We're talking about keeping it down and keeping it suppressed forever, so that the Japanese knotweed goes away. And that whatever does come back up on that steep slope is allowed to revegetate naturally, but have it be native plants that's growing, not the Japanese.
How do you kill that stuff?
You're gonna need to use a herbicide, and you're gonna have to use an aquatic safe herbicide, and that'll be part of the condition of the permit.
I talked to the head greenskeeper at the Whitesville Golf Course, and he said that you can't kill it. He doesn't know any way to, said the stuff you buy at Coopman's or something might say it, but it'll just come right back.
You have to keep on hitting it, and it takes multiple years.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be there for multiple years, so
Good.
I'll keep up with it.
Good.
You know?
You, as the homeowner, are allowed to do it yourself. If you don't wanna do it yourself, you have to hire a Massachusetts licensed pesticide, herbicide applicator. And you also have to use something called an aquatic safe herbicide. It's a certain sweet, like Roundup, not considered aquatic safe.
I know that.
We're talking about things like, there's a product called Garlon, there's another one called Rodeo, you can consult with whoever you want, with what do they think is the best chemical for Japanese knotweed. Everybody has a different opinion. But whatever it is, it has to be on the aquatic safe list.
Anyone in the audience have any questions?
The Northern Woodlands magazine said wild cucumbers will kill it.
Okay.
And
Try it, let us know.
Yeah, planting them tomorrow.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Make a motion to issue the notice of intent
order of conditions.
order of conditions, sorry. I'm listening already. With the condition that the plan is revised with that one note that was discussed.
Second.
All those in favor?
I.
Aye. Thank you for all coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Good luck with the cucumbers.
I'm gonna go into business and pick out seeds.
What the heck is this thing? 263 Purgatory Road? Oh, that goes in here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Who seconded that?
Which one? The first or the second motion?
Yeah, to approve. Not to
Dan.
close. You made the
No, it
motion to approve, or the second?
The second.
I closed and seconded on the approval.
This is that. Why does this say 260?
I gave one of my plans. Can you give me one of those plans back?
Probably want it. Maybe the agenda's wrong.
Is the address wrong for Mass Electric?
Is the address wrong?
Well, this thing,
62 Wilderness Road.
okay, why do we have 263 Purgatory Road on the map here?
It's Drive?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, it's Drive.
62 Wilderness Drive is on the
Drive, yes.
agenda, but this is 263 Purgatory Road.
That's not my plan.
That can't be, because all they submitted was
this
this
is
packet.
Borrego.
Yeah, it's just
Solar?
a aerial map with,
Yeah.
that didn't submit.
But
anything.
national, maybe it's not the same thing. I don't know what this is.
This is their plan.
Well, what do we have? Wanda just left us.
She thought you'd be interested.
Is that the one we talked about last meeting?
I'm sure she has, sorry.
This might have been from the old one.
Should have been solar project.
Did we talk about this last meeting?
Yes, we did. And it's right on the town line with Northbridge.
Oh.
Right,
And
Vandenakis.
does Sutton have any interest in anything?
Yeah, Vandenakis, yeah. No, we didn't,
We're done.
so.
Well, what did she say?
Please sign and put back in the office.
So I guess we
Take
didn't make
care,
any notes.
she'd take care. So we evidently didn't sign this. So that's all we're gonna do is sign it.
Sorry, it was in a different file.
Sure you didn't want to make notes here?
It was with 62 Wilderness.
Oh.
That's why I was
Oh, yeah.
asking.
So I don't know, project review.
Just sign
This
the
is,
I thought we gave.
we did.
We talked about it, maybe we didn't write it. No, it's fine.
We have no
Finally.
comments.
805, 62 Wilderness Drive, Mass Electric. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 7, 2017 at 8:05 PM at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Oxford Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by Mass Electric Company. The project consists of installing one single wood pole structure near a house on map 16, parcel 10, on or near 62 Wilderness Drive, Sutton, Mass.
It's actually an
Welcome.
RDA, not a notice of intent.
The purpose is to review a RDA, so that's the second typo of the night. Sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it. I just don't want you guys to have to issue an order of conditions or something you don't have to.
You don't either.
This is pretty simple. The homeowner would like upgrade their service, so they're installing one pole, Mass Electric.
I have more if you don't want to share.
No, we can.
It's on the, pretty much the outer 100 feet of the 100-foot buffer zone to the bank of Lake Singletary, or Pond Singletary, which is a great pond. So it's also located in your aura. I have a weird accent, sorry, I'm from the south. So, and then there's a tree that would be in the way of the electric service. So it's already kind of been, it's not really functioning as a tree. It's pretty much just a stump that the landowner wants to remove. And they might actually have already removed it according to the landowner who's sitting in the back. So I just wanted to make that clear. So the tree is in front of the green, not being pointed to by the green arrow, but in front of the green arrow.
Yep. The habitat tree.
I guess it's a habitat tree, it's not really.
Used to be.
Yeah. So what they would do is just cut the tree and leave the stump, or I'm assuming that's what they did.
I can show you a picture.
Okay. As of April, it was still there, so.
You need to say your name and address.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
her.
You.
Both.
Oh, I'm Melissa Kaplan with the BSC Group. They want me to give my address of my company, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so-
Representing Massachusetts Electric Company.
Jenny Picking, one of the homeowners. This is a picture that I just had taken.
I have pictures already up there from today.
Oh, okay.
All right, great,
Okay,
thank
it looks
you.
exactly the same.
Okay.
So did you see the tree, or?
Yeah,
Stump?
let's just say at this point, this is all after the fact work. The tree's already been moved,
Mm.
pole's already up, line's already been strung.
Life is good.
Yeah.
We're catching up with the paperwork.
I wasn't meant to be that way, so.
Yes, so any tree that was in the way is now, it's actually over here now. There's part of where it got cut up, and there it is, right there.
So they did remove the stump, even though they
And
told
this
me
has
it
been
weren't.
over 3 months. It's
Okay,
been
our
going
photos were
on.
taken on April 21st, and it was still there, so.
But the communication was so bad
Yeah.
that, you know, if they had been told to take it away, I think they would have. Because
They weren't
it's
supposed to
been a
have done
long
the work.
time.
They knew that we had to come and do this, so I apologize that this is an after the fact filing.
And why we couldn't get hooked up to that pole. Are you putting in a new pole?
You said that there was a
There's-
pole that's close by, but I'm not sure if that's the exact one that was being.
What I was told when I called Mass Electric, that they didn't want to hook us to the pole that's up there now. They've hooked the other people, but not us, because they thought that a tree could take it down again, where our camp is down below. So they were gonna put in a new pole, and it was an environmental issue.
That's why
So-
we're here. That was it. So, did you happen to look at the poll numbers at all, Brandon, when you were out there?
Just put it like, you're fine.
Okay.
And my husband needs a machine at night because of his heart, so we can't, and we don't
I
have
will-
any electricity.
We are here for this poll, so if it's not there, they're going to approve it. And if you have any issues, I will give you my card, and you
Okay.
can.
Thank you.
I have it in the car.
My only comment is that it is kind of Conservation Commission policy that is if you remove a tree, this doesn't even fall under the requiring a certified arborist, because what they want to do is cut it down because it's in the way of the line. So it's kind of it's a different situation. And I don't see the issue with it myself, but the policy is to replace the tree that you cut down with a new one in a similar location or closer to the lake if possible. Could that be done?
Sure,
Doesn't have to be done tomorrow, but
no, but can we get electricity before that's done?
I'd say the
It's not their
answer is
decision on the
yes.
electricity, so.
We won't be in the camp
Yeah.
for the summer,
All
that's,
right.
you know.
I think that they know that this is happening and that they have to wait for it.
And obviously, you
Okay.
wouldn't be required to replant it directly underneath the line, that wouldn't be smart. So somewhere in the general vicinity, if you want to put it down by the lake, even better. We'd like to have little vegetated buffer zones for water quality and stabilization. Native. Not a cork tree area.
Yeah, it was a little confusing because there is a tree nearby, but there's a proposed location right here in this other location. So I'm not sure if it's been done or not, but so.
So that's it. It's a typical negative determination with the contingency to replant another tree in the vicinity.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to issue a negative determination with the stipulation you plant a native tree in a similar location.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
So after you plant the tree, just call Wanda and let her know you did it.
Good luck with the electricity. Have a good night.
For looking at that quickly for him.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Anything else here tonight?
Just to close and end the public hearing.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, way ahead.